The hammer, by far the single most useful tool. Because we love them so much, I thought it might be worthwhile running through a few basic tips. Now I'll be covering selection, action and maintenance. Now the most commonly used hammer throughout any building site is the 20 ounce. That'll cover pretty much anything you're going to do, from large action to small action. Very, very handy hammer. Now next we've got our 16 ounce hammer. This one here, if you're doing slightly finer work, got finer nails, slightly smaller and you want a little bit more control, or if you're not used to a heavy hammer like a 20 ounce, this one here is really, really handy. When I started my apprenticeship, we started out on a 16 ounce, then you worked your way up to a 20, so very handy for you. Next, on the other end of the spectrum, we've got this long-handled rip claw hammer. If you're doing a lot of hammering, doing a lot of framing, this one here will take care of all your big stuff. Now, if you are doing a lot of hammering, you've got this option here. Got an anti-vibration handle. This takes all the whack out of when you're putting your nails in, so you don't get a sore arm if you are doing a lot of hammering. Nice little hammer. Now, this style of hammer here, it's got a graphite handle on it. Slightly lighter there, so it's a little bit easier for you to use, but still the same grunt with a 20 ounce head on it. Quite a nice hammer too. Now hammers really are one of those tools you're going to have forever, so you want to make sure you get the right one for you. Making sure that it fits really nice and comfortably in your hand. Now when you are actually going to use your hammer, you want to hold it right at the very, very end of the shaft. You certainly don't want to hold it around the middle of the neck like that. That's what we call a choker in the trade, not a good look. So you want to hold that right down the end there, making sure you got the hammer that suits you really nice and comfortable in there. So when you are actually using your hammer and you're putting in some big long 4-inch nails like this, you want to have your thumb and your forefinger on either side of your hammer and having the centre line there lined up with the V of your hand there. Now you might have noticed when I was banging in that 4-inch nail, my action was all coming from my wrist here. I wasn't actually bending my elbow whatsoever. You use a lot of the elbow when you're hitting a nail in, you're going to eventually get tennis elbow. So we've got a lot more control using our wrist. Now another little tip, if you're putting in smaller nails, our 16 ounce here we'll use, it's got this little panel pin here. You put your forefinger on the back of your hammer, you get a lot more control for these smaller nails. Still using my wrist, that goes in there quite nice and easy. Boom. Okay, let's rip into showing you how to pull out nails. A couple of different ways you can do this. Do your standard way, just by pulling along the length of the timber, along your grain. Takes quite a bit of effort, but you can get it, and you will end up marking the timber. Another way, if you want to protect the surface, you can put a block down, and it gives you a little bit more purchase. That comes out quite easy. Now another way, if we're not worried about wrecking that timber, you can actually put your hammer in sideways like that and pull that out, and that gives you the claw of your hammer closer to your timber, and that's really, really handy if your head is already snapped off and you've got nothing to lever against. Now once you've chosen the hammer that's good for you, you're going to need to maintain it every now and then. If you've got an old hammer like this, hasn't been used in a while, you probably want to give it a tickle up with a little bit of fine grade wet and dry sandpaper. Now the face of these hammers is one of the most common cause for you when you're missing a nail. So like I might have a build up of glue or silicone or paint on there, so you just need to give that a tickle up on the sandpaper, holding that hammer nice and level. Bit of that, and then a bit opposite direction, and it's just going to take any rubbish off. Now that's looking pretty good there. If you want to make the rest of this handle looking a little bit sharper, once again, we can use our wet and dry sandpaper. If you like, you can put a bit of water with this wet and dry sandpaper, no problem. Now you might think, oh, Granddad's hammer isn't really worth cut of its jib, but you know what? A little bit of care and maintenance, and that there will last you for a lifetime. If you've got a bottle like this with a leather handle, every now and then you can soak that in a little bit of oil and keeps that leather nice and supple. And once we've finished that, all I would do is put a little bit of CRC on that if I'm not going to use it for a little while. Just puts a nice little protective film on it, stop it from rusting. Rightio, that's looking absolutely beautiful. Now, choose a hammer that suits you, use it properly, Keep it well maintained and it should last you a lifetime. For any more tips and advice, head into Mitre 10 and a staff member will sort you out.